Gary Neville has stated that Ralph Rangnick killed Marcus Rashford with his Leicester City snub. Now, we know Marcus Rashford had been in poor form for the entirety of this season and the back end of the last campaign. The shoulder surgery has happened. The ankle has been fixed. The expectation was that Marcus Rashford would come back into this Manchester United team refreshed. He would come back in and look hungry. He would come back in with a fire in his belly and would help deliver goals, assists, creativity, and push Manchester United forward. That hasn't happened. But can we really here start to look at Ralph Rangnick and his involvement in this? Is Ralph Rangnick to blame? Has he completely killed Marcus Rashford? Is Gary Neville right in this instance? I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Let's go. I know he's been poor. I know he's lacked confidence. But for Cristiano Ronaldo to pull out this morning and for Paul Pogba to go in and change the system to play in the way in which they are, and the game has been approached, it is just not put Marcus Rashford in as a striker, as a straight-up swap, having trained with the player for the last 10 days. Overall, there's too many things at this club that are uncertain. Gary Neville, during the Man United game with Leicester City, kind of made the point that he sort of felt that Ralph had killed Marcus Rashford. And there's been a number of people since Ralph Rangnick has come into Man United that are looking at him and saying, not a good enough coach, not a good enough manager. He wasn't the right person to come in replacement of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and his systems, and he tried the same thing against Leicester as he did against Manchester City, and it didn't work. Bruno isn't a false nine. Pogba should be deeper. Blah 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 blah. And I understand criticizing a manager, and I've always said that there isn't a position at a football club that isn't up for scrutiny, especially with the kind of money and expectation placed around their necks. But Gary Neville is off here. Let's be absolutely honest about this. Gary Neville is off. And I want to delve into why. Before I do that, make sure you use the QR code next to me to check out all the latest Football Terrace podcast available across Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, loads of them. Whatever you use to listen to podcasts, it's available by scanning that QR code next to me right now. But Gary Neville is wrong about Rashford. Yes, he had 10 days to work with him. Yes, it was unfortunate that we lost all our strikers. And of course, Martial was sent out on loan and Greenwood has rightfully been kicked out of the Manchester United squad. You're left with just Marcus Rashford. But what is he showing in training? Ralph Rangnick sees the problems at this club. Listen to his interview the day before, Gary. Listen to almost go back and remember what you told us, Gary, just a few short weeks ago. Players leaking team news. Players with the mindless, consistent, self-preservation PR, which we 100% know Marcus Rashford is doing. Marcus Rashford, and I know that some prominent Manchester-based journalists have played this down, but I don't believe them. Rashford has been flirting with leaving just because he hasn't been in the first team. I don't think Rashford's heart is in it right now. I don't think Rashford gives off any sign or any signal that he even wants to play right now. His nose is pushed so far out of joint, it's palpable. Marcus Rashford is killing Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is damaging Marcus Rashford's career. He has been in some of the most horrendous form I've ever seen from a Manchester United player. In his last 10 games, he's created 1 goal. In his last 10 games, he has done absolutely nothing. If you go back and look at these games and these performances, there hasn't been a moment from him. There hasn't been a run. There hasn't been a dribble. There hasn't been a situation in these games where you've thought to yourself, well done, Rashford. That was good. Over 2 months. Over 2 months of football from Marcus Rashford and not a moment to be proud of. He doesn't deserve to start. I understand Gary Neville's point. Why use a system that hasn't previously worked? And it was a poor decision from Ralf Rangnick, and he hasn't been a good enough interim manager. There is no doubt. And what I'm now seeing from a lot of people is, oh, it's the players again. It's the quality of players. Listen, I'm not having people move the goalpost without admitting their own mistakes. The same people now saying it's a squad. We need to sell everybody. The squad is nowhere near good enough. And I'm not talking, of course, there's holes in this squad and we need to buy some new players. But listen, the best teams in the league need new players this summer as well. Everybody does. These were the same fans that said Poch could win with this squad. These were the same fans that said it was Ollie and his lack of system and coaching and training that was knocking us backwards. And that's part of it. Ralph's come in my opinion, with better ideas, a better track record and pedigree than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, given us a different group of coaches, and we've stayed still. Now, some people, again, want to look at the low-hanging fruit and focus on the quality of the players. It's the attitude of the players where the problem lies. The attitude of these individuals is the biggest issue. Listen to what Ralf Rangnick has told us. This club needs new players of higher ability. Absolutely. But with hunger and the want to develop. Ralf Rangnick is telling us very openly, very candidly, these players have no hunger and these players don't want to develop. Some of them, on top of that, lack the quality that we also need as well. You throw all 3 of those things together, a lack of quality in central midfield, a lack of quality at fullback, a lack of depth now more so than quality in those forward positions. You're in big trouble. And I'm just sick to my back teeth of seeing Marcus Rashford being protected as it's this manager's fault and it's this person's fault and it's that person's fault. There's 2 groups of people to blame for where Rashford is, where Martial is, where Pogba is, where Bruno is headed as well. It's the individual player and the football club, i.e. the ball, the people that run it, the people that set the standards. When you're taking dividends out of the club every year, when the club is rotting away, as in the stadium, when the training ground is bang average now in comparison to your competitors, you set the standard. When you reward mediocrity through not achieving the biggest results in the game by winning the major trophies, you set the precedent. The precedent is it's okay to be here and not there. We're going to pay you money for up there, but it's okay to achieve this. There's no accountability. So as soon as a new manager comes in that wants to raise the tempo, raise the work rate, push the boundaries a little bit, make you work harder in training so that you can move the ball quicker, make you drop deep an extra 10, 15 times a game to pick a ball up, to drag an opponent out of position, to run, make those diagonal runs 5, 6, 7 times a game, even if they don't come off, to persevere, to run through the brick walls needed. These players say no. That is a personal decision from them. But it is endorsed and it is enabled and they're empowered to do so by the way this football club is run. Ralf Rangnick has not killed Rashford in this decision or any decision he has made since he's been at the football club. Was it right to make Ralf the interim manager? No, probably not. I don't think he's actually a good enough coach, but he knows how to run the football club. judging Ralph Rangnick's ability to run the club based on his interim period as manager is ridiculous. You know, you don't judge him in that way. It's as simple as that. That's a rivals. He's a flop. He's been a flop. Listen, if you're being dragged into rival talk, shame on you. Ralph is a top class DOF. Just read up on what he's done in that position in the past. He's certainly better than what we've got. And we need to start listening to what he's saying. Listen to the interviews. Listen in more detail about what it is he's saying. He's barely being consulted. I don't care what Fabrizio tweeted yesterday. Listen to Ralph himself. Don't speak to me about who the new manager is. Got no idea. He wouldn't say that if he was heavily involved in the process, as some journalists are claiming. And back on Rashford. Highly talented player. Someone that I've had a tremendous amount of respect for on and off the field situations. But I don't hide when it comes to players that I like. I don't hide when it comes to individuals that I enjoy watching. I'm not like these fools who will continue to protect their favorite players no matter what. That, for me, is not supporting a football club. I don't even know what that is. I can't even put my finger on it anymore, other than, I don't even call it preserving someone you like. I think it's just an attention thing, if I'm being honest. But Gary Neville here is wrong for me. Rangnick hasn't done this. Rangnick hasn't killed him. It's not on Rangnick for not picking him this weekend. The only thing I would say, I would have probably given an academy player a chance as a forward. That would have been the better option, in my opinion. Couldn't have done any worse than everybody else on the pitch. And I think it's about time some of these academy players that do have the ability, that are working hard, are given an opportunity to play, because the top four's over. There's no it doesn't matter now whether we finish 5th or 10th. It's irrelevant. The season is done. The season is dead. And something else needs to change at this club. But it's focusing on this manager killed this player and that player and this coach and this. It's all folly. It's all folly. But I do want your thoughts and I want your opinions on this. What was said by Neville, the focus on Rashford and the wider issues at the club. Make sure you're leaving your comments below, smashing the like and the share button. Until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.